Nintendo makes Smash balance patches like a teacher might make Among Us themed classroom posters. That is, they truly try their best despite the circumstances, and a thick layer of blissful ignorance then shields them from the raw, existential horror of their creations. But if you think about it, doesn't that just make the successes all the more beautiful? Like, if even one kid decides to do his homework because he doesn't want to be sus, doesn't that make it all worth it? And just like that, it's the good buffs that come to mind when I think about Smash Balance, not the numerous horrific failures. And you know, I wouldn't even be able to mourn those failures if we didn't have so many real successes. I spent all the last video talking about the spiciest Smash Ultimate buffs, and I still didn't have enough time to get to some of my favorites. So today, I've once again revved up my extremely legal Vanilla Smash Ultimate emulator to talk about the juiciest Smash Ultimate buffs we've ever seen. And yes, juicy is a whole different class of buff than spicy. It just is. Now real quick, before we start, a couple days ago I announced Bad Things Happening to Good People, a free online tournament with some very stupid rules that I've wanted to host for a very long time. And as I was planning it, I was like, okay, gotta put up a prize pot, gotta pay the TOs, commentators, designers, how am I gonna make this happen? But then I was like, wait a second, I'm a YouTuber now. Today's video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. It's a cross-platform game you might have heard of with millions of players, tons of content, and importantly, a name that actually makes sense. Like, there's no way to chess in chess, right? That's not a thing you can do. And you can't checkers in checkers. But you know what you can do? That's right, you can raid the evil Shadow with your summoned legends in Raid Shadow Legends. And there's a ton of different ways to do that too. We're talking 500 plus champions, all with unique skills and animations. Some are badass, some are good boys, some are Santa Claus with a magic sword. What are you doing there? Anyway, all fit the beautiful dark fantasy aesthetic the game is known for. So just use the links below in my description and you can download Raid for free to your mobile phone or PC. And of course, Raid prides itself on its 40 and counting unique bosses, so let's take a look at my personal favorite, the Fire Knight. He is a very angry man whose head is constantly on fire, and he has a big ol' shield with googly eyes that blocks most of your damage. So if you want to win, you gotta strategize. Build a team with a lot of multi-hit attacks to make him drop his shield for a turn, and then capitalize on that by saving your burst damage for when it matters. You gotta use your noggin here, and that's something I really like about Raid. All the Raid bosses put a different spin on the turn-based gameplay, and the artifact system lets you equip your champions in different ways to deal with different situations. And of course, the game is constantly growing and getting new content. This month they put out a huge overhaul to the clan system alongside other stuff like new champions and quests, so there you go. If you want to get a huge head start in Raid, all you have to do is hit the link in the description or scan my QR code and you'll get an epic hero, Chonaru, who is amazing in the Doom Tower. 200k silver, 1 XP boost, 1 energy refill, and 1 ancient shard, so you can summon an awesome champion as soon as you get in game. All that good stuff will be here in the inbox when you log in, and once you're there, you can of course find me in-game under the name WhyDo, or even join my clan. So big thanks again to Raid for sponsoring this video, and I hope to see you out there raiding with your legends. Okay, so here's what a juicy buff is to me. A buff that takes a bad character and makes them not bad. Kinda like how a ripe, juicy pineapple can totally transform a fruit salad into something greater. I don't think you'll find a better fit for that description than Ryu and Ken, who, if we're talking fruit salads, went from one of those gas station mixed fruit cups to some 5 trillion IQ Gordon Ramsay masterpiece.
Delicious. Pineapple chunks.
From rethinking multiple moves, to introducing an entire new mechanic, to giving Ryu and Ken unique tools to make them feel different from each other. These characters got so much thought and care put into their balance patches, and guys, this is just a hunch, but I think Sakurai likes Street Fighter more than Punch-Out. But let's talk specifics. The first, most obvious change was the held close jab, or proximity jab, or proxy jab, or the thing that happens when you hold down the A button close to somebody. And before the patch, I'm not really sure what this move was supposed to do. It deals 14% damage, which is pretty good, but it sends them so far away and doesn't combo on its own. You can cancel it into specials, but strong up tilt does the same exact thing, and you can use that move anywhere instead of needing to be like 2 inches from your opponent. But wait, that up tilt also kinda looks the same as proxy jab, as in literally exactly the same. So you might be wondering, aren't these just the same move? But no, that is obviously false, and we can tell by looking at the hitboxes. So these are the hitboxes for jab, and these are the hitboxes for up tilt. Now, if you look closely, you can tell that these are completely different moves because jab has a bigger dot. The dot is bigger. Not to mention, it sends them at a slightly different angle. Riveting stuff, Nintendo. But yeah, I always found it a little strange that Ryu had two separate moves that did pretty much the exact same thing, especially because otherwise, I think they did a really great job of making all this character's attacks feel unique. For example, if you were to look at just forward tilt and forward smash, on a character like Ness or Luigi or Lucina, you have one attack that knocks them away, and a riskier attack that knocks them away faster. And there's nothing wrong with that, it works, but Ryu's forward tilts and forward smash alone have so much personality to them. First, there's proximity forward tilt, which is a quick combo move that cancels into specials. Then there's light forward tilt, which basically turns your leg into a sword and lets you poke people from 5 miles away. Then you got heavy forward tilt, which is this iconic, crazy shield breaker that just screams, "You screwed up," whenever it lands. And finally, there's forward smash, a massive kill move that feels so good to hit when you have a read. So that is a quick combo starter, a spacing move, a shield breaker, and a risky kill move, and you can access all of them just by being on the ground, holding forward, and then pressing A. It's honestly really cool to me how each of these moves has its own unique place in Ryu's game plan. And that idea extends across his entire moveset, with almost all of his attacks standing out in their own way, which I think does a great job of giving Ryu lots of interesting decisions to make and making his moveset feel very complete and well-rounded. After all, as a very wise man once said,
But really make sure that you've got that nice coating on all the fruits.
So you can see why I found it kinda sad how Proxy Jab did nothing special. It felt like wasted potential. But thankfully, there's a reason I've been talking about this one sad little pre-patch move for so long. Because in 3.1.0, the Balance team reworked Proxy Jab into an absolutely amazing attack. One of the scariest tools Ryu and Ken have, period. And all they had to do was make it weaker. That's right, literally all they did was give the move a fraction of its old knockback, and it's the single best thing they could have done, because now you have this fast move that does 14% on its own, and kill confirms into Shoryuken whenever you want, which gives you so many terrifying combos. You can focus attack someone at 50% now, and then just down air, heavy jab, Shoryuken, and they disappear. Super easy with a bit of practice, and totally impossible before the patch. But the Balance team didn't stop there. They gave the same kind of buff to heavy down tilt. This move was never bad, it was always good for poking and getting a couple of damage building combos, but after 2 separate knockback reductions and an angle change, heavy down tilt became a wonderful combo tool and even a kill confirm into Ryu's side B, which for the record is my favorite kill confirm in the entire game because it takes so long to happen. The extra hit lag and all of Ryu's moves really sells that juicy fighting game feel when you land an attack, but it basically makes this combo play out in slow motion. It feels wrong to get hit by because it seems like you should have been able to escape, but no, your fate is sealed when this excessively buff man hurls you into the air with his foot and starts violently spinning towards you. It's a work of art. And notably, it's a work of art that Ken can't participate in because of course his side B isn't a kill move. And that brings me to my next point, how they did a really good job of diversifying Ryu and Ken into unique characters, because Ken is of course always going to be running around and mashing in your face with his speed, but Ryu is supposed to be slower paced, a true Hadoken enjoyer. So this patch helped them play that way. Ken's command input kicks got some great changes like a lower SDI multiplier and more damage, and that makes his moves feel much more threatening to fight against and definitely a bigger part of his identity as a character. Meanwhile, Ryu got the ability to chuck fireballs even slower or even faster depending on how long you hold the button. So suddenly Ryu players had much more room to mix up their Hadokens, which not only gave him a more flexible neutral, but also made some of his fancier projectile combos with Red Fireball more viable, which I think is really awesome. So, that is a bunch of stuff, and if that were all the changes Ryu and Ken got, I don't think anybody would have complained. They were pretty significant. But then, in January 2020, patch 7.0.0 hit and all hell broke loose. Ryu got some nice stuff, like more shield damage on fireballs, a powered up side B, oh, and there was one more thing. Yeah, so both Ryu and Ken got the ability to cancel down smash into any special move, which is pretty good. The ridiculous damage of down smash lets you get some wild combos, though thankfully they did lower the move's shield damage, so you can't just pop shields for free with it, which is probably for the best. Still, this change is a big deal because for some reason, down smash comes out in a disturbingly fast 5 frames. It is faster than Shoryuken. So if you get a parry, this new down smash is one of the best punishes in the entire game. You can literally parry someone's safest poke from long range and just do like 30% damage to them, which, yes, competitively speaking, is a little bit of a crime against game design. But personally, I love it because parrying looks really cool. And as you might know, I have no competitive standards as long as something looks totally badass. Speaking of which, this buff also gave Ryu and Ken an advanced technique called the late Kara cancel, where you can cancel down smash into specials without actually having to hit anything first. So you can just do down smash in neutral, like far from your opponent, and let go, and instantly you're doing a special move. It's especially funny on Ryu because you can slingshot yourself with Tatsu and go flying across the stage at highly abnormal speeds using this spooky kill move. It is very stupid, and I love it very much and hope it never gets removed. So yeah, after the patches, Ryu and Ken are basically entirely different characters, and in my opinion, that's for the better. I actually mained Ryu in Smash 4 for a bit, and to be clear, I will definitely not defend his design in that game. It was not okay, but it really did feel like something was missing in Ultimate. He used to have this terrifying aura, where if you picked him, your opponent started sweating, because they knew that even if they won the matchup on paper, anything could happen, and it often did. So even though yes, he probably deserved a lot of the nerfs he got from Smash 4 to Ultimate, it was disappointing to me that this fighting game icon felt so underpowered in this game. All of that aura was gone. Except for auto turnaround, of course, that has always been terrifying. But anyway, with the improved projectiles, your way better jab and down tilt, a new down smash, and a bunch of other minor buffs and fixes I didn't mention, Ryu and Ken are finally scary again. And unlike in Smash 4, it's not just because one hit means death. Ken's movement speed and Ryu's fireballs give them different ways to approach neutral, and their more complete movesets after the buffs make it actually rewarding to put the effort in to master their punish game. Overall, I give Ryu and Ken 3 Michelin stars out of 3 for a truly juicy Gordon Ramsay fruit salad. Next is Captain Falcon, and Captain Falcon's dash sucks. You know, like, he runs really fast, but when you try to turn around, it feels like you stepped in glue. Did Nintendo ever fix it? No. Then why is Falcon on this list? Well, I want you to picture yourself crawling through a scorching desert with no supplies. You've given up hope, and you're pretty much just waiting for a slow and painful death by dehydration. But suddenly, out of nowhere, a mysterious masked figure shows up. It's a miracle! Someone's here, you're saved! But then, the figure drops their bag on the ground behind them and reaches into it. And as they do, their mask falls off. They turn around, and you realize, to your astonishment, to your horror, it's Guy Fieri. And instead of the water you were hoping for, he's offering you his award-winning Guy Fieri Bacon Mac and Cheeseburger. And seeing this, you cry out, "No! This is ridiculous! I need water! I am literally going to die of thirst because of you!" God, I do love bacon though. So that's what the Captain Falcon buffs felt like. They were good. They were amazing even. They had bacon on them. And they were absolutely not what anybody asked for. His backwards dash was weirdly awful for no reason. It got hit by so many attacks you were already actively running away from, as Falcon main Grayson Glory explained in this video on March 29th, 2019. But 2 months later, in 3.1.0, Falcon got some crazy buffs. Yay! All his problems were fixed. Raptor boost comes out quicker, it has more armor, 3 extra frames a hit stun, Falcon kick lasts longer, his back area is stronger, the knee is bigger. But wait, of course, his dash stayed exactly the same. It still got hit by so many attacks you were, again, actively running away from, as Falcon main Fatality explained in this other video on December 23rd, 2019. By the way, that video has one of my favorite comments ever, which is, Captain Falcon will probably be buffed once more, however, they will just buff some random shit without even addressing his problems. Sadly, as this person would learn, just because you can predict the future doesn't mean you can avoid it. 6 months later, in June 2020, patch 8.0.0 dropped and Falcon got even more buffs. Raptor boost got juiced up again, it has way bigger hitboxes and combos better thanks to less knockback, just like the Ryu jab change. Oh, and Falcon kick got hugely buffed. It's faster, less laggy, and it's stronger. Up smash got buffed, it is absurdly strong now. Dash attack is less lag, down tilt's a better kill move, and Falcon's dash still gets hit by so many attacks you are already actively running away from. I am losing my mind, it is still bad, over 2 years later, and it's still horrible. The fast man has a worse backwards dash than the slow cat, and it doesn't seem like that's ever changing. But here's the thing. All those changes I just talked about, they matter. The Bacon Mac and Cheeseburger is really good. Guy Fieri pulled through. Your side B has become this relatively safe, super armored, terrifying approach move that starts never-ending combos. Your up smash obliterates stocks at absurd percents with a ridiculous hitbox, and somehow Falcon Kick is like actually a good move in this game. Like it's fast and it kills, and it's actually not a bad way to try escaping the corner sometimes. It's good. It's actually good. So you know what? Somehow, some way, just like a dehydrated desert traveler reluctantly eating a sand-covered bacon mac and cheeseburger, I really like playing this deeply flawed version of Falcon. I don't know if he's healthy for the game, he's definitely not healthy for me, but it is very fun to hop around, spam Raptor Boost, armor and attack, then get a sick combo that kills at 30. And you know what? For all my pessimism, there might actually be some hope on the horizon for fixing his dash. As you probably know, patch 11.0.0, which happened in March 2021, partially fixed tech checking, where you could tech Falcon's up B and punish him for hitting it. That had been the bane of Falcon players for literally 2 decades, and while it's still possible depending on how close to the stage you are, you can't just murder him for daring to hit you with his up B anymore. For the first time, Falcon got one meaningful fix that he actually needed. Going back to the analogy, that fix would be like the moisture within the lettuce on the bacon mac and cheeseburger. Not enough to hydrate me, but enough to give me hope. So based on prior data, I've determined that we will get a fix to Falcon's dash sometime around 2041. But until then, well, at least we've got one juicy and very fun, complete mess of a character. Finally, we got Mii Brawler, and this one is very close to my heart as someone who has religiously played Mii Brawler since release. I honestly didn't think they'd put in the effort to fix Brawler's very specific problems, but they actually did somehow. It was welcome, but really surprising. Like, imagine walking into your kitchen at 1 a.m., only to find the mayor of your town personally fixing your broken toaster. You might not know how they were aware your toaster was broken, or how they got into your house for that matter, but at the end of the day, you'd probably appreciate having a working toaster again. Well, I'm thankful to Sakurai for fixing the profoundly broken toaster that was Mii Brawler on release. First off, the aerials. Back air has always been one of your most important tools for getting KOs, but it was weirdly laggy before, which made it feel awkward to use, especially compared to similar back airs like the broken ones on Fox and Zero Suit Samus. That got fixed in version 2.0.0 with a fantastic lag reduction, enabling the iconic high percent back air spamming playstyle we all know and love today. Nair got less lag too, joining the exclusive club of attacks with only 6 frames of landing lag. This makes it one of the safest aerials in the entire game and gives it way better kill confirms and setups. In fact, the objectively funniest brawler combo, Nair to forward smash aka the why is that a combo, is only viable because of this patch. All in all, buffed Nair is so spammable and so useful that it's probably my favorite aim move in the entire game. It's like half the reason to play Mii Brawler nowadays, and I absolutely can't imagine the character without it. Next is Jab, which got buffed so that it actually works now. You know, always a good thing when your moves function, when you hit people with them, especially when having a quick frame 2 jab was supposed to be a strength of the character. And to wrap up the A-move buffs, up smash got a bigger sweet spot, so if you catch somebody trying to land on you, you're much more likely to take their stock. It's a great buff to a move that was already a strong anti-air because your leg has no hurt box. Good stuff. But wait, all the buffs I just talked about were definitely a big deal. But I know what you're thinking. WhyDo, cool buffs and all, but I don't think they're juicy. And you're right, juicy is a strong word. And if these were all the buffs Brawler got, they just wouldn't make the cut. But now I think it's time to talk about the magnificent changes that made Mii Brawler stand so much taller, which are of course the buffs to their special moves. Cause the whole appeal of the Miis is the fact that you get to customize your own character, right? My Mii is about me, what I want in a fighter. And that has always been totally true for Mii Gunner, because none of your special moves suck. You can pick any combination of specials on Gunner, literally any combination, and it won't be bad. It might not be optimal, but it won't be bad. And if you think about that, that's actually a pretty big success in terms of game balance. Meanwhile, in Mii Swordfighter land, things are a little bit different. You see, thanks to 3 moves that completely blow all the other options out of the water, if you want to compete with Swordy, your options are actually pretty limited. It's more or less only about your down special, which isn't exactly the most engaging decision to make. Like, oh, what's that? You decided to run the counter instead of the reflector this time?
Daring today, aren't we?
Now, it's not all completely terrible. The June 2021 patch did have a couple of nice buffs for Swordy's worst specials, but it just feels very lacking. Like, you're still gonna see pretty much every single Mii Swordfighter player worth their salt running Tornado, chakram, slash dash, and some down B. So yeah, two big extremes, and I would argue Brawler used to be a whole lot closer to Swordy than to Gunner. You got to make the amazing decision between a neutral B that was a useful projectile and could set up edge guards and pressure from a distance and combo, or a neutral B that did absolutely nothing whatsoever, or another neutral B that did even less than nothing whatsoever. The game is fun. But in a rare moment of clarity, Nintendo saw the error of their ways, climbing straight through my kitchen window at 1 AM to fix my metaphorical toaster, and we got a ton of very unexpected and very powerful special move buffs. Thrust Uppercut turned from complete garbage into an actual move that can do things sometimes. It got a bunch of kill power, even kill confirming off of grab, up air, and more. And Flashing Mach Punch used to be so awful it practically didn't exist before, but after getting way faster and stronger and more consistent with longer range, it became something actually worth using. Seriously, this move went from frame 15 to frame 10. That is a whole third less startup, which is pretty wild. Even our horrible Falcon Punch ripoff got some love, with a massive lag reduction that made it safe on shield, and a lot better than Falcon Punch, which I gotta admit feels wrong. It's like if Prongles were better than the real thing. Anyway, the list goes on, as does the trend of laser-focused fixes to our very obscure problems. Soaring Axe Kick gained the ability to grab ledges backwards, which is such a welcome but oddly specific quality of life change that I was legitimately confused reading the patch notes. But, of course, I love it. In the end, a total of 8 special moves got buffs, and while they weren't all winners, to be clear, they were definitely not all winners. Overall, the changes did a great job of opening up Brawler's options and giving players more of that juicy, creative freedom that brought us to the character in the first place. In fact, in the moveset I use today, every single one of my specials got buffed at some point, which feels awesome. And all this makes me pretty optimistic about the future, too. After all, these buffs came in 5 separate patches, ranging from January 2019 all the way to June 2021. I wouldn't be surprised if the last couple patches brought even more great things for this character. Although, there were those other 2 patches that did nothing but nerf counter throw, which was already one of our worst moves. So, I'm not getting my hopes up too much. And now that I think of it, I also gotta subtract a couple points here because of that one time they slightly changed our fall speed, making fair cancel on a short hop and giving us tons of new combos, and then they changed it back 2 months later because apparently that buff was just a complete accident that nobody noticed. But hey, nobody's perfect. They're doing their best, and at the end of the day, they are just a small, passionate, multi-billion-dollar company, so you can't expect too much. Pokemon fans understand. Although, I do want to make a video about the 4 separate times Nintendo made that exact same mistake on different characters this game, so if that's something you're interested in, I'm just saying, there's a button you can click that might help you see that soon. Anyway, as a Brawler player, I can't stress enough how the changes to their specials just got what made this character so fun to me and amplified it. Because of those buffs, I've spent hours having a blast with this character in ways that were completely impossible on release, and I honestly don't think Brawler would have held my attention for nearly as long without them. So that's it! Those are my picks for the juiciest buffs of Smash Ultimate. And good buffs really are a wonderful thing, aren't they? They can take characters you love and make them even better, or characters you don't love and make them worth playing. So yeah, when I see characters like Little Mac getting a bunch of tiny changes that don't actually address their problems at all, it saddens me. Because again, I know what the Balance team is capable of. They've shown that given the inspiration, they can do truly great things, great feats of balance, and triumph over the... Hey, no, stop it. Why do I see the Luigi... Right, so... there have been some failures at game balance, but I really think the Balance team can do great things if they put their minds to the... No, don't put the Rob combos!